Welcome to Turning Point USA headquarters in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm your host, Jon Root, and this is a special health and wellness edition of TPUSA Live. All right, let's get the party started. Here's the rundown. We'll start things off by introducing you to our guests, including Nurse Kate Johnson, who will be joined by TPUSA ambassadors Dr. Oschenbein, as well as Steve and Amanda Kuclo. Next, we'll have a much-needed discussion about mental health and how COVID lockdowns dramatically affected the mental state of millions of Americans. Then we'll continue the discussion with our guests, breaking down how and why it's so important to have and maintain a healthy lifestyle, specifically when it comes to exercise. You definitely don't want to miss our chat about companies incentivizing a COVID vaccine, along with ridiculous examples of how they are promoting unhealthy lifestyles. Before we wrap up the show, we'll chat about practical ways you can add nutritional value to your diets and start eating healthier today, followed by one last thing. Get ready for a jam-packed hour that we guarantee will improve your health. TPUSA Live from HQ starts now.
Authentic, unfiltered, grassroots content and conversation every weekday. Live from Phoenix, Arizona at the Turning Point USA headquarters, this is TPUSA Live.
Well, welcome back to TPUSA HQ. We have some incredible guests on these couches right now. We're so excited you're here. This is a special health and wellness edition of TPUSA Live, and we're going to start with Dr. Oschenbein. I'm saying that correct, right?
It is. Good to see you.
Great to see you, Sean.
Yeah,
so
man.
glad that you're here. You're an emergency medicine physician in Johnson City, Tennessee, correct?
That's right.
And then also, too, you've served on multiple specialized rescue missions in the Putnam County Rescue Squad, including emergency medicine, vehicle extraction, rope rescue, swift water rescue, and dive rescue. It sounds like you've pretty much done it all.
Yeah, my mom hated it. That's right. It was a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, I can't imagine that you're doing these deep dive rescues and mom's excited about it.
No, definitely not.
But a huge part of what you do is led to getting the Public Safety Medal of Valor that was given to you in 2018 by President Donald J. Trump. So can you tell us a little bit more about what that is and what that meant to you?
Absolutely. Well, I can tell you first off, his hair looks better in person, and he does have normal size hands.
But we were really wondering about that.
Yes, absolutely. So let's get that on the record. But it was a very humbling experience. You know, rescue providers, EMS, fire, they do every day they risk their lives, right? Yeah. And very rarely do a few people kind of get pulled out and get recognized, and that was humbling. But I tell you what, the real heroes that day were the San Bernardino police officers that actually fought terrorists in California and were there to, receive their medals. And sitting there having a beer with those guys at the hotel and hearing that story, I was in awe of really what everyday people do across our nation to protect us so that we can sleep comfortably in our beds in our hometowns across America. And I think that's really what it brought home to me, is that we have to support our first responders and keep them in the back of our minds.
Yeah. And then we're going to talk about a first responder in just a second, but first we're going to get to Nurse Kate Johnson. So you're a registered nurse. You specialize in critical care. For the first 7 years of your career, you have experiences in critical care, which gave you a passion to make sure you educate on preventative health and practical ways to implement a healthy lifestyle. You also have a beautiful baby Eloise. I know everybody loves Eloise so much, but you use your platforms to make sure you have an approachable, practical information and education for health and wellness. But tell us a little bit more about your career in critical care and how that led to your passion for health and wellness.
Yeah, so I worked in critical care at a big trauma center in Washington, D.C., and then in Baltimore City as well. And you just see a lot of things that people are suffering with at early ages that are preventable, things that they could have taken action on early in their life, and it wouldn't be complicated to take action on, right? So monitoring blood pressure, getting weight in check, eating a healthier diet, just the basics. But what I realize is a lot of people don't know how to do that. Nobody ever taught them what are the basics and what does that look like. So I realized that there was a big opportunity there to begin just telling people, hey, these are the basics, this is how you can do it, and this is what you can do to start on the road to make your life a healthier one.
And I'm excited to hear a lot more about that a little bit later in the show. Glad you're here. And then we got the Kuclos. We're going to start with Steve, professional bodybuilder. You started competing when you're 18. You clearly know where the gym is. But you won countless bodybuilding competitions, including the title of Brazil Arnold champion, and you placed in the top six in the world at Mr. Olympia. and you're a 5-time International Federation of Bodybuilding and Fitness champ, all while being a fireman. So we're talking about being a first responder. What inspired you to pursue bodybuilding?
Man, I think it was always wanting to be the biggest, fastest, strongest guy in the sports I played, and always wanting to like kind of be the best version of myself. I always picked up magazines and saw, you know, guys that were huge, and figured one day maybe I can get there. But it taught me, you know,
I think you've done a pretty good job.
I think, but you know, the lessons learned in it, and you know, the lives I've been able to inspire through what I've done in bodybuilding and help people, not only in maintaining some kind of fitness, but you know, wanting to be the best version of themselves. Like it's been a very rewarding career and something I absolutely love.
And then your wife right here too, Amanda Kuclo. You found a lot of success too in your career as a professional fitness competitor, in over 26 first place finishes in fitness and bikini competitions around the world, 10-time IFBB Pro Bikini champion. You've been on the cover of multiple magazines, and you use your knowledge and experience to educate women about the benefits of weight training. So with just about a minute left, what made you so passionate about weight training and making sure you're empowering women and educating them?
I started in the music business. They let us work out to try to get our cardio up. I went into gym at 18, fell in love with it, went through everything that you can experience in fitness, because competing, there's really not balance. I'm all about right now teaching women about balance, because competing is extreme to extreme, and a lot of women don't know about that. So I take what I've been through in the industry and I share it in a vulnerable way, in an open way, because women are very hard on themselves. So we talk about weight gain, we talk about weight loss, we talk about crying, we talk about being, you know, just different things, that how we feel about our bodies. That's when it became a passion for me to take what I've experienced and learned myself through personal experience, and now I help women, and we just talk, we cry together, and so that's became now my passion.
Well, we'll talk a lot. I don't know how much we're going to cry here.
We're not crying today.
We're not crying.
We're going to
We're
talk
not
about the
crying.
lasting effects of the COVID lockdowns in our next segment. We'll see you in a few minutes.
In these United States of America, this great country of ours, we American Indians, we can be anything we want to be, except American Indians.
A lot of the soldiers were very aggressive, so the women did get raped.
What we call huelte. Huelte means a place of suffering, dying, starvation, nothing good. Just like the Nazi concentration camps.
I didn't realize how corrupt things were. I didn't realize what kind of environment we were living in.
We had no running water, we had no power.
They de-incentivize people from, you know, opportunity.
That's why our suicide rate has climbed up astronomical rates.
I moved from the poorest county in America, the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, to the richest area in the country, the Navajo Indian Reservation. There is no difference. The poorest and richest reservations in our nation suffer from identical problems. This is not anything new. This is an everyday occurrence in all tribal governments.
So my life and my tale and my truth has been to fight socialism, and I'm hoping that I can wake up as many Navajos as I can to tell them that you can do this, even if I have to fight you to save you. And I think that's what I'm also projecting to my people. Even though they are so harsh on social media and they completely hammer at me, I tell them, I'll be here even if I have to fight you to save you.
Welcome back to TPUSA Live. Once again, this is a special health and wellness edition of TPUSA Live. We got the Kuclos over here, Steve and Amanda, Dr. Sean, Nurse Kate. Welcome back. We're going to talk about the COVID lockdowns and how that affected Americans' mental health. So I'm going to start with this. According to a Gallup poll, mental health is worse right now than any other point in the last 2 decades. We're showing you this chart right now too. 76% of Americans reported their mental health as either excellent or good. And you might look at that chart and say, look, well, it doesn't seem like too much of a dip, but this is actually taking a dip below 81% for the first time in 2 decades. And this is over the last 2 years that we've seen mental health just take its toll. I know we all have our own personal experience, how we were dealing with that, lockdowns, being stuck at home. But I think we'll start with you, Sean. Well, you're seeing patients and you're talking to people consistently. Yeah. It's hard to deal with kind of these mental health situations because usually we're like, hey, physically, like I know what I need to do to get back in shape, or I need to eat a little bit better, but like mental health, it seems like strange for a lot of us to deal with.
Well, absolutely. And look, you can look at the data and then you can also feel what it's like personally. And I can tell you when I treat pediatric psych patients coming in with suicidal ideation, thoughts of harming themselves, my first question is, well, what kind of medication are you on? And then 2, have you ever been admitted to a psychiatric facility? And it has really crushed my soul talking to children that have never been on a medication, that have never been into a psychiatric facility, and they're coming in requesting services because they've thought about hurting themselves. And that is something that really I never saw in my practice until COVID. And the data shows that. CDC looked over the last year, and girls 12 to 17, 51% increase in presenting to the hospital with suicidal thoughts. And that really kind of calls home that we're missing out on something, right? We're missing out on capturing that metric when our politicians are deciding, are we going to shut the schools down? Are we going to shut the city down? What else are we forgetting about? And I think we're forgetting about our children.
Yeah, and then especially with the next generation, you got baby Eloise too. You're thinking about these kids growing up in this world, and every single one of you has a great platform on social media trying to make sure everyone knows the truth about what's going on. But there is, just like you said, Sean, you have to be connecting with people relationally. We can throw all the stats out there to you, and we want to make sure that we emphasize what we're saying with stats. But there is that relational aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I had Eloise in July of 2020. So it was in the middle of pandemic. I was pregnant like through most of the pandemic. I never dealt with any kind of anxiety, depression, anything, but after I had her, I had terrible anxiety. I actually didn't even know what was going on with me because I just had never felt it before. And it was really isolating from that perspective. So I think there are a lot of different demographics that we're forgetting about. Like becoming a new mom is isolating. Being isolated while you're isolating is like really, really challenging. I was really lucky to have a great support system, but a lot of people do not have that. And it's a very challenging thing to go through. And then, it was a weird time. Like, could you even ask people to come over?
Was it kosher?
Like I need something, but am I allowed to ask for that? So I think we missed, we had a lot of conversation about, maybe the possibility of some benefits, but we never really talked about the downsides, and nothing is ever one-sided.
And at the same time too, the bodybuilding community is massive, and you connect with people going to the gym, and that's an outlet away. But now it's just like, no, you need to stay in your homes. You're having health officials. You weren't a part of them, Sean. We're not roping you in.
He wouldn't make enough decisions.
And government officials telling you, and then even you have celebrities and influencers from their mansions shouting down at you, and professional athletes saying we can sweat on each other for a few hours, but your kid needs to be masked or stay at home. Like, so when we're talking about specific community aspect, how did you guys go about making sure that you're connecting with your followers, you're connecting with the people that you're taking care of, and even take care of each other and your body at the same time?
You give it to me, right?
I can let you roll with that one.
I'll go off of that one.
Well, I can kind of probably lead her into this, but I know, like in the bodybuilding world, a lot of things were shut down. Obviously, there's no expos, and as kind of professionals in the industry, you were always making appearances, going to different gyms, stores, shows, making appearances, talking to people, and that's very fulfilling for, say, us, for somebody to come up to you and shake your hand and say, you know, you're my idol, or you're somebody I look up to, or you influence me to be a better version of me, or to start training again, or whatever it is.
Now you think about just like, can I shake hands with this person?
You know, but like just not having that was, you know, I'm kind of a little bit more strong-headed, where I'm like, I can get through this, no problem. And I kind of get that through my training in time as a firefighter medic, dealing with stressful situations and stuff. But that kind of, I think, really took a toll on her, because she gets a lot of that fulfillment through talking to people and women, like she talked about, and helping them. And seeing that firsthand, like in ways, really made me realize that this is a bigger problem than we really know.
Yeah, a lot of people don't want to talk about it, because especially with, at least I'm saying, and anytime I say something, I make it very personal. In our world, there's a lot of people that only want to put on the best thing that's going on. I mean, there's days where the last thing I want to do is train and eat chicken and broccoli or whatever, but it'll be like, every day's awesome, I'm super motivated. So they don't talk about being sad or being depressed. I was freaking depressed. Not only at this, I was also coming out as a conservative. I lost 20,000 followers like that when I said Trump. So women don't attack, and I've said this before, women don't attack small, they attack your life existence. They will tell you, you've changed my life for 10 years. And now I'm a believer, so I always put believing first, and then anything about politics and that. I always look at this as a good versus evil battle. My thing about the whole mask thing was, and I made a video about this, oh my gosh, I lost so many followers, but I didn't care that I gained an army of women that were like, I love you, you're the Joan of Arc. Because I simply was watching TV right when all this started, and they kept saying the new normal. And I said, this is 100% division. There is something about, and I'll say, let's go a Bible here. There's something about the power of unity. There's about the 2 or 3 agree in prayer. When I saw my friends' kids playing with themselves, 8 years old, in the mirror, that's depression. That's, to me, that's an absolute sad thing. So not only was it affecting kids, it was affecting my friends. My friends were drinking every day. A lot of people were like, is the world gonna end? It was so much
alcohol
uncertainty.
Sales just skyrocketed.
Right.
I mean, the human interaction, I'm a hugger, I smile. Seeing this and not opening doors to people, I felt that there was such a division between people that made me depressed. That was very sad for me.
I think that's an interesting point, because we saw all kinds of memes and things on social media about how this was an introvert's dream, and like, but what about the extroverts? Nobody ever talked about them and like how damaging that would be to somebody who's an extrovert, right? Like,
absolutely.
I mean, I think we all chuckled at this, like, oh, an introvert.
And at first we traveled all the time. We stopped traveling.
Yeah.
So where's our goals? Shows aren't going on bodybuilding. So now where's your goal to? That's where our motivation comes from.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of times people would be in their house and they wouldn't. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. We know several people that committed suicide. That's insane to me. And the fact that it wasn't being addressed in an open market was absolutely, to me, devastating.
Yeah, and that's something we're going to talk about with this whole show here, about how it's like, this is best for your health. You need to stay indoors. And honestly, like, being at home is not a safe place for, like, especially like a lot of kids. Like, they need to go to school. They need to develop. And then also at the same time, like, this isn't just a bunch of like conservatives or just like anti-lockdown. Like, we need to look to the data and look to the stats and look how it's actually like affected us, and look inside and be like, was this reaction worse than the virus itself? And then I'd love to hear your reaction, Sean, because we had to think about death and division every single day. For sure. And we had to be pessimistic about a lot of stuff too. It's like, we're very optimistic people, but that just started to run our lives.
No, you're right. And I think one thing that, Amanda brings up is people lost their connectivity to talk to their friends. People lost their support structure, right? And it showed us how weak we are with our social media platforms. Texting and video conference sometimes just doesn't cut it. We have to have those personal connections. We have to have our friends we talk to. And so there was some states that looked at this, John. Wisconsin did a study, and their EMS call outs, so when someone calls 911 for an overdose, went up almost 50%. Wow. Oh my gosh. And that is clearly showing that we're missing something in our society that we need back drastically to make people not only live healthy lives again, but we need to be around each other. We need to talk.
Well, there's also like a social accountability that happens when you're seeing people, right? Like, if you see your friend on a regular basis and you're drunk every day, your friend's going to be like, what is going on with you? Why are you drunk every day?
That's right. That's exactly right.
Like, but if you're sitting at home by yourself and nobody's checking in on you and you don't have that social accountability, I mean, Like,
I mean, like if you're not getting your hair done, you're getting your nails done. I'm like, I don't want to be around in my jammies 24/7.
yeah, right.
It kind of makes you feel a little bad sometimes.
Right.
And you
And
put
then
on
too-
some weight, and then you're like, what do I do with my, and then that weighs
and then
on your
also,
self-esteem.
It just
Amanda,
snowballs.
we could go off and off on this,
Off
but we're
on
going
that
to do
one.
that next
Yeah,
segment.
yeah,
We're
we'll
going to
say
talk
that.
about how you can have and maintain a healthy lifestyle when it comes to exercising. See in a few.
Lipstick is red, woke faces turn blue, cinnamon rolls are queens, I've got pop culture for you. All the juicy, wormy, newsworthy 411 is coming to you every single day on POPlitics at its new home, TPUSA Live. It's like Barbie's dream house, but bigger and pinker.
This is your brain. This is your brain on socialism. Any questions?
What if I told you that this has all happened before? The riots, violence, church burning, attacks on police, destruction of private property.
My name is Sammy Steigman. I am a Holocaust survivor.
This is the reality of what happens when you have capitalism that goes to socialism.
El socialismo no funciona. El socialismo no funciona.
Welcome back to beautiful TPUSA HQ in Phoenix, Arizona. We got some great guests. Amanda's ready to rock and roll again. I love it.
Ready.
Well, we're going to talk about how you can have and maintain a healthy lifestyle, specifically when it comes to exercise and sleep. Kuclos, we need to start with you guys.
Let's do it.
Man.
Once again, obviously, you guys know about working out clearly.
Just started. It's my New Year's resolution.
I lost weight to make him look bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you both have done a great job.
Yeah, right?
But obviously, working out is a great outlet. We were talking about that in the last segment, how there was places that were shut down. The gym was shut down, and you had to try to figure out things at home. But just speaking specifically right now, the here and now, it's a great outlet. It helps being a stress reliever. So how do you have and maintain a healthy lifestyle and basically just kind of keep up with bodybuilding and what you do?
Man, I mean, fitness is really something you do for life. Yeah. It's not like just a season or a month. Like, obviously, competing does segment the way I train and that kind of stuff. But fitness is something I look at as lifestyle. Like, people always ask me, what am I going to do after I stop competing? And I'm like, well, I'm still going to work out. I'm still going to eat good. Yeah. And overall, like, you know, I think people have a tendency to treat fitness or like the way their diets are as always something they got to feel good or pleasurable, you know, but I do it for function and for health a lot of the time, you know. And I think when you look at fitness and workout and nutrition, like how it's really the building blocks to health, it changes the way you look at it, and you're going to have more success with it, you know. And then you got to have fun with it too.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I do it as a job, but at the same time, like there's times where I do try to have fun with it and do something different, you know, get outside and do not just in the gym working out, or you know, just try a different, you know, challenge or something. You know, I always tell people have fun with it.
Yeah. And then Amanda, you do a great job not only challenging this guy, I'm sure, but like challenging women online too. That like, hey, like working out too, like. This is gonna be tough. This is gonna be uncomfortable at times, but like once you start getting into this routine, you're just gonna love the way you feel, and it's actually making you like mentally, physically, and even like spiritually healthy.
It's exactly that right, because you said that. That's my thing. It's spiritual body. So I believe that health is not just physical, because you can look good from the outside and you cannot be healthy on the inside. Or, you know, so then mental health and spiritual health. So I like to lead my women in that has to do mental health, and spiritual health for me is positive talk. That's also helped me get through all the stuff. I'm a big believer in the power of words. So I say, ladies, you can't look in the mirror and say, I'm fat, I feel bad, I have no energy. You know, you don't say that. You speak positive. You say, today's gonna be a great day. I love the way I look. My body gets better every day. But you function. My whole thing now is not on a scale. I don't count macros, because it's gonna be another form of bondage. Eat what is healthy. And my training changed because I used to be a 5 to 6 day a week competitor. Right now I'm 42. Holler. So I'm trying to let, you know, most women don't admit that. But people want to be like, I'd rather be 42 and not look it, and I'm trying, because a lot of women think at 30 their life stops and at 40 life stops. So I'm here to motivate them and say, no ladies, it's just beginning. Your training though changes. So now we're training on functionality, and we're training on bone health, and we're training on stretching, and we're also training on our heart and lungs. A lot of people, right now I'm a little lean, I don't need to do cardio, but because my mom had heart surgery, I am now looking as that's gonna be my new passion of how to educate people on that diet to stay healthy, like you said, at any age. But it's now, my cardio is now for heart, it's for lungs. Even if I don't want to do it, my training now is about overall health and wellness as opposed to aesthetics.
Yeah. And then at the same time too, you're using your platform as well, like telling everybody, like, we have crazy busy schedules. And as Americans, we like to feel like we're the busiest people on the planet. But you said, like, you have 15 minutes every single day.
Yeah.
You take baby Eloise out, and you take Benny out too?
Yeah,
Make sure he's
Yeah.
exercising.
He goes too.
But why is that something that started coming to your mind, and why is it something that you're pushing consistently to actually make sure people can just start? It seems like the good first step.
So for me, it started because I worked in critical care. I worked, I mean, your shifts are 12-hour shifts. Okay, you're not there for 12 hours. But I would feel like I had already accomplished what I needed to do for the day. And then you realize that, I haven't spent any time being intentional with myself. Yeah. So it turned into 15 minutes of intentional movement for me. And then from there, like for me, it really transformed my life in a lot of ways. It kind of shifted the way that I viewed exercise, like you were saying, like into something that was for my health, not just for like checking a box, which is kind of what had been for me. So I always like to promote 15 minutes because everybody has 15 minutes. Yep. And if you start there, you can grow. So, and it doesn't matter what you do. I mean, I love walking. Like, we walk everywhere. So if you follow me, you guys know that. But if you like, I hate biking. So, but if you like biking or like, whatever your thing is, find 15 minutes to be intentional, to be thinking about your health and to be like dedicating that time. And it really will help transform the way you think about how you move your body and what you're doing.
Yeah. And it's a good practical way for people to just like get things started. But like medically speaking, from the doctor man.
That's right. Absolutely.
Here, talking about exercise and sleep with just about a minute left. Like, what are some like practical ways that people can start like really looking to like how much sleep should I have? Like, what should I be doing exactly?
Absolutely. Well, I think they all pull in this kind of common thread of wanting to be healthy for their life. And ultimately, that makes them happy, right? Mm-hmm. They wake up energized, they're crushing their day, they're focused, And for most people, John, that's about 7 hours of sleep. Yeah. Now, there are some of those people that can do 5, 6, then they're pounding the Red Bulls and the Monsters. But if you don't want to do that, you really need about 7 hours. Yeah. And what a lot of people don't realize, is that you're going to remember more from the day before, and you're going to actually function better and be sharper if you get that much sleep.
I'm taking notes then.
No, that's right.
I'll take notes.
Flyer later. Yeah. But Harvard did a study, and
real quick too.
Yeah, and well, okay. So basically, they looked at a study and they said we can actually make people live 10 years longer if you do some very simple things. Okay, you exercise, you limit alcohol, you don't smoke, you watch your weight. Okay, and if you do a couple of those things like that, you're actually going to live happier years, and that's what's important. Not just living longer, but happier.
And there you have it from Dr. Sean. But coming up next, we're going to talk about some pretty crazy COVID vaccine incentives that some companies are pushing, and they're pushing some unhealthy lifestyles as well. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Great.
What if I told you that this has all happened before? The riots, violence, church burning, attacks on police, destruction of private property.
My name is Sammy Steigman. I am a Holocaust survivor.
This is the reality of what happens when you have capitalism that goes to socialism.
El socialismo no funciona. El socialismo no funciona.
Do you miss the good old days when sports were just about the game? If you want to go back to sports being unifying again, tune in every week where we'll expose and discuss how the left is ruining sports. My name is Jon Root, and this is Breakaway.
Do you like guns? Do you like ammo? Do you like suppressors? Do you like freedom? Do you love America? Do you like baseball? Do you like rifles? Do you like 9mm? Do you like pistols? Join me, Paige Rue, every week on Reloaded.
Welcome back to TPUSA Live. This is a special health and wellness edition of TPUSA Live. We got the Kuclos here, Amanda and Steve, Dr. Sean, and Nurse Kate. We got to talk about these crazy COVID incentives that are being pushed by companies, and also some unhealthy lifestyles that we're seeing from magazines and companies all over the place. So over this time, we're talking consistently about what can you do for your health? What is actually healthy? What am I supposed to do here? And now you have these companies that are pushing things like this. First up, we had some lottery incentives. We had California, Colorado, and Oregon, among some other states, that were offering millions of dollars in vaccine lotteries. It's like, where's that money coming from?
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, because that's got to be taxpayer dollars that's paying for this kind of stuff.
All right.
So we talk about something that is unhealthy financially.
Right.
So we're talking about
Mentally,
health.
I can set up an addiction for gambling.
Yeah.
I just thought that
People
now. I
getting
don't know.
excessive vaccines.
And then I think some of these too, because we're talking about like nutrition. We're going to talk about that a little bit later too. But food incentives. You have Krispy Kreme that was offering free donuts to those who
It
have
does
the
sound pretty
vaccine.
awesome, but it's
Like,
not the
Krispy
healthiest
Kreme
thing.
always does sound good.
Maybe for your birthday, not like.
Yeah. But they were saying as long as you've received 1 dose of the vaccine, you can receive 1 free original glazed donut per day to the end of 2021. You'd have Taco Bell offering free Doritos Locos Tacos to Californians. Chipotle's offering free queso. Miami did shots for shots. So if you got the vaccine shot, they'd give you.
That's aggressive.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
that's aggressive.
and then also too, the final one here is Anheuser-Busch pledged to buy Americans 21 and over, which I'm glad they clarified that. A round of beer won 70% of Americans are partially vaccinated. So there's a massive beer giveaway, and the funny thing about every single one of these incentives, it's not healthy.
It's not the top of your health list.
You're right, and I'll be honest. I feel like this is kind of woke capitalism, right?
Yes.
It is private entities getting involved in healthcare and public decision making that really needs to be left up to the patient and the physician, right? If someone goes and gets a vaccine because they can get a donut every day, I feel like that was the wrong decision for them to make. That should have been a decision, right?
Yes.
I mean, that should have been a decision between them and their physician, not them and Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine people are going to you and other doctors' offices and you're like, you know what? You know what you could use? Another donut.
Donut. I actually have this pamphlet, so you can get 1 donut, 2 tacos, a free shot,
and some queso.
but that's only this week. So you better go get the vaccine now. And a beer. That's right. You know, and I think it sets the bad precedent with people staying home right now, right? I mean, I think if we're going to, kind of motivate people to get the vaccine, we need to do it in ways that are actually going to benefit people. And I think this is kind of the wrong angle to take. Definitely, someone like yourself, you two watch what you eat. You live very active lives, and I can't imagine what it's like for y'all seeing people, kind of getting into this habits of eating a donut every day.
Well, it's just been the force. It's the way it's coming on to me. It just feels so weird.
Yeah.
Like anything that's forced on you and it takes away, to me, that's why taking away your freedom of choice. Like you should be. I don't know. That's just. It's like when our friend.
Trying to influence people.
It's our friend called us and they wouldn't let the wife go back to work. They were coming back to work in September, but they were treating the people different that had a vaccine and not. They were almost treating them like that. You have to stay outside in your car. You can't come in. It was very separate. And I just thought that was so wrong because it's almost like you're bullying someone into doing something and you're giving them no choice. You're not even telling them why or not. I just think that when they go there, it would be like, and I think, again, with woman, like if someone said, go back to work but shave your head, would I fight that a little more than like, maybe I'll get a vaccine? You know what I mean? It's time to me, it's time to stand up. But it's like you said, it's the individual businesses that are doing it. But I think when they're doing it to a point of with kids and we just heard about kids trying to do that at school. We just heard about that, help us Lord. And making the parents do it when it's a force and the way that it's coming, and then you're using the media and you're using other companies, and now you're incentivizing, and the rest of the world that's not looking at doing other investigation.
This comes down to like education. You need to
That's
educate people on this, and that's what you do a good job.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think the biggest travesty in the wake of this last year and a half has been we had this amazing moment where people were listening and paying attention and wanting to learn about their health and like tuning in and really caring. And what we heard was go eat a donut every day. Go take some shots. Go have Doritos Loco. I don't even know what that is.
Locos Tacos.
Go get like
John
you know,
oh,
like
man.
instead of taking this opportunity to say like, hey, let's really focus on our health. Let's really dial this in. Let's we can't prevent a lot of things, but the things that we can prevent, they live here, and let's talk about that, and let's do that. We really, really missed that opportunity, and now these businesses coming in and like incentivizing this stuff, it makes it feel like your health isn't worth the investment.
Yeah.
Just like do what we say, and don't worry about your health.
That's right. And I think
that's what I have a problem with.
And what you were saying about woke capitalism, I feel like they're just trying to just take advantage of this kind of situation, and unfortunately, a lot of people just aren't educating themselves. Luckily, we have every single one of you here, the way you use your platform, making sure people get the truth, they get the right information. But we see things like Cosmopolitan magazine. So when we're talking about health and what is health, what is healthy? So we're going to show you that on the screen too. Cosmopolitan magazine had this and said, "This is healthy." So you see someone on the screen there, and that's obesity, and that really is not healthy. Hopefully that leads to like good conversation, so we can actually get to the bottom of what is healthy. And that was from February of 2021. We saw that magazine cover there, and that's during like the height of the pandemic too. And people were being told, eat tacos, eat queso.
There's no promotion of health, and that's what we keep talking about. You know, like health to me can be very simple. You kind of hit a few key points, like get exercise daily, whether it's 15 minutes or you want to have a structured program. Get outside, get in the sun, take your vitamins, eat healthy. Natural whole foods, just basic things. It's not very complicated, and it's not talked about. They just rush to get a vaccine, rush to take this pill. It's like, why don't you let your body work for itself? And that's something I always promote.
And then obesity too. You can speak on this like quite a bit. Like this is affecting so many people, millions of people in the United States. It's a major health crisis, just like we talked about earlier. The APA saying there was a mental health crisis during lockdowns, and then now we have an obesity issue in the United States, and we're trying to tell people, just stop fat shaming, stop body shaming, just accept people for who they are. And nobody's saying like someone that's really skinny on a magazine, like that's healthy, or somebody on the other side of the spectrum here. It's just like, hey, let's get an understanding. I'd love to hear both your ideas.
I think Kate hit it on the head, is that we had a missed opportunity here. When we look at the people that have been admitted to hospitals with COVID, over 75% were overweight. So if you look at that and you go, wow, well, what else can we do besides the vaccine to really make an impact? We can start talking about healthy eating, working out, right? What is mental fitness? How does that kind of tie into this? And I think that, magazines like that and that article, it really puts physicians in a weird place, because when we're in there and I'm talking to a patient about, obesity, drug use, we have to be honest, and we have to say, this is not what's right for you. This is not what is going to let you live the best and happiest life. And then they leave and they see magazines that contradict that. It puts physicians in a hard place, and I think it needs to stop.
And then how do you feel about this? What's your response with about a minute 30 left?
I'm a little bit of an optimist. So my one thing is that I actually do like the promotion of seeing people who are not super fit moving and working out, because fitness is for everybody. 100%. Movement is for everybody. I don't care where your starting point is. So for some people that might be encouraging. That might be like, you know what, this company makes athletic wear that fits me and I feel good, and now I want to go walk. Like, who doesn't like getting a new pair of running shoes or a new pair of Lululemons,
absolutely.
So I from that perspective, I think it is really beneficial to see that messaging, if it is that messaging. I hope that that's the intention.
Because individuals like that shouldn't feel shameful to go to the gym.
That's right.
And if a cover like that makes someone empowered to go to the gym, then that's a win. But if it keeps someone from going to the gym, then that's a loss. And I think everybody that sees that magazine takes something differently, and we have to be clear with our messaging.
Well, here's the nefarious thing. That magazine cover was intended to spark controversy. It wasn't intended to help people live better lives.
Absolutely.
And in that regard, I think it's pretty despicable, because they knew what they were doing when they printed that in that way.
Sell magazines.
And people need to know too, like practical ways to start eating healthier. Like, what does healthy look like, especially when it comes to eating, and what does nutrition look like? And we're going to talk about that this next segment in just a few minutes. I love that perspective, Kate. Thank you. See you guys in a few.
You have to ask the question, how is the most heavily funded tribe have the poorest population?
Listen to me. My country is very because everything problem here. Don't have petroleum for bus and Cuban, for car, for drive, for nothing.
And it sucks. Socialism sucks. There's no other way you can describe it.
Conservative students are considered threats to American universities, but they won't stand down any longer. Join me, Isabel Brown, every week as I meet the bold student warriors who are fearlessly fighting to stop their leftist professors and peers from destroying their campuses. This is On the Front Lines with Turning Point USA.
What's up, guys? My name is Jon Root, and every week I'm breaking down the top stories in sports and bringing you conversations you won't hear anywhere else. It's gonna be a great time here on Breaking.
TPUSA Live is about to be spicy. I mean, would you expect anything less? It's me, Alex Clark. Of course it's gonna be spicy. Tune into The Spillover, my brand new podcast. Think of it like the older sister to POPlitics with a lot more conservative.
Big dog status, I'm a big dog vet. I pull up on the block in a big Corvette.
Welcome back to TPUSA Live. Let's get into nutrition and healthy eating. Every single one of you look fantastic.
Oh, thank you, John.
It makes me want to start eating a little bit better, too. So that's why I'm going to start taking a few notes here. But everybody watching and following you on social media and when you go to events, everybody wants to know, like, how do you eat? What do you eat? When do you eat? What does nutrition mean to you? So specifically from the bodybuilding side of things, obviously you're going to eat a little bit more than I do.
That's a very common question. Like, everybody, what do I eat? And we actually had a brief discussion about it before we started here. And when it comes to bodybuilding, like I said, I treat my nutrition and food as fuel. So it's not like it's one of those feel good every meal. I got to be like, oh, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to have the dessert and I'm going to feel all good. Like, no, like I eat a lot of my food cold. I'm on the road. I'm doing things like I eat for function, and that's using that food to fuel what I'm trying to do, perform better, lift, be stronger in the gym, that kind of stuff. So my nutrition is the big, like I always say, you can't out-train a bad diet. So diet is probably 80 or 90% of what you could actually achieve in the gym. So that's what I really push people is diet first, get that right, get, exercise obviously, but and for me, it takes a lot of food. I'm a big person, and I have to eat a lot of food just to maintain my physique. But like in general, I always tell people think very natural foods that you could pick off a tree, grow in the ground, less processed foods, and good sources of protein. Animal protein I'm a big proponent of, and if you like vegan protein, that's fine. But I've seen people kind of go back and forth with protein sources, and people that have animal source protein have always been a lot more muscular. So that's kind of my take.
We were just talking about this last segment about like the incentives, and they're pushing things. They're talking about processed foods and the kind of garbage that's in food right now. Like, what are some foods that people should be looking at right now, kind of going off of what Steve just said, that they can incorporate in their diet, and knowing that diet is healthy eating, not just stop eating and only eating like 1,000 calories a day. It's like a healthy diet.
Unless you're a 2-year-old, you shouldn't be eating 1,000 calories a day. You need more than that.
Please.
I think my 1-year-old eats more than that. But I love what you said. What I always say is eat what God made in the way He made it most of the time, right? So it doesn't mean you can't have a treat. It doesn't mean you can't have a tacos, locos,
Doritos, locos, taco. I got you.
You can have that, of course. But most of the time, we get so hung up in the like super strict rules. That's why like all of these fad diets tend to be really, really, really strict. You can never have this ever again. Or like, no, it's not about that. It's about what you do most of the time. So most of the time, try to avoid packages, bags. Eat what God made in the way He made it. And if you can grow it in the ground or pick it from a tree.
Colorful things are good too.
Right.
Fruits, vegetables.
You don't have to eat all the fruits and vegetables. Eat the ones you like.
Eat the ones you like, right?
Yeah.
And then medically speaking, when you have people come in here and they're asking like, well, what do I do? Like, and then the practical ways you're giving them like, hey, here's how you can start. Here's how you can go. Instead of just like, I feel like so often too we can have these conversations where like we can shame ourselves, where it's like, oh man, I probably should have had this, or I shouldn't have eaten that. Like, there's got to be a little bit of grace inside of that too. It's okay to have some desserts, but also at the same time we want to live healthy and
I see it a lot with like older people. Like it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks when it comes to diet.
Well, 100%.
People are like stuck in their ways, like that's why teaching the youth how to eat, better is I think key right now for their health later down the road.
Could not agree more with that. And I will say this, we stress eat. right? That big dopamine hit, getting that big
That
tub
feel
of
good.
ice
It's the
cream.
feel
Yeah, I mean,
good.
there's a reason why so many TV shows, there's that girl on the couch eating ice cream. So what I tell patients in the emergency department, if they ask me about diet, I say 3 simple things. 1, quality over calories. Focus on what you're eating that's natural, right? Do that first. Number 2, figure out what your stress eats are. Are you hitting that Lay's potato bag, at the end of the night? And then take that out of your house. And then, so take that stuff, move it out, don't have access to it. And then 3, I think is so important, is you need to pack tons of snacks. And they need to be healthy snacks. Stuff with crunch, stuff that's chewy, right? And you need to pack your bags with that so that when you're hungry and you need to stress eat, you've got tons of options, right? And it's all good stuff. You're not grabbing that, that milkshake on the way home that I love to do every once in a while, okay? You're not grabbing that cheeseburger. You're grabbing, some banana chips out of your bag that are gonna taste great, it's got a little sugar in it, and it's healthy for you.
And I think another thing too people often overlook is hydration too.
Oh, 100%.
I think, making sure you drink enough water. A lot of people don't realize they don't drink enough water, and then how much of the body functions through, hydration. So that's another thing. People ask, how much do I drink? I mean, on average, maybe a gallon and a half a day. I drink a lot more, just the amount I sweat and perfuse and stuff. But I always try to get a gallon of water a day, and it's just kind of like a baseline,
Yeah, absolutely.
People sometimes you're hungry and you're really thirsty. So if you heard of that?
Yeah.
If you're dehydrated, you'll come off with hunger. So I say to have 2 glasses of water, then wait, and then you eat your food slower. Your body takes about 20 minutes to digest it, and then if you're hungry, then you eat a little bit more. And I always say, I'm with you. Eat what God put on the earth. Less ingredients, the better.
Absolutely.
I mean, the final question I would have is, we're always on the go. You talk about it on social media too. Here's like some to-go tips and tricks. Bodybuilding too. You guys are talking about that. We're always on the road, but specifically with a minute left, we're on the go. People eat fast food quite a bit. Are there good, healthy options at fast food restaurants?
So there are. I think, Chick-fil-A is a great example. I love Chick-fil-A. I'm from the South, right?
God's chicken,
I could
man.
probably live in Chick-fil-A, right?
Amen to
right?
that.
But you always don't have to get the fried option.
Right.
True.
Right?
Really?
I know. You can get the grilled. You
Hurts
can
my
get the
soul
grilled.
when you
I know.
say
You can also, I know this is going to shock people, but you can actually get water with
Yeah,
a meal.
That's right.
Yes, they will put it in a cup.
Diet lemonade, friend.
Yeah, you don't have to get the bottled one, and that cuts so many calories out of your meal on the go. And here's another tip that I'll tell people is drink a liter of water in the morning. You will be shocked. Steve is right. If you just drink a little bit more water, you're gonna have more energy, you're gonna have more stamina, and you're gonna feel better.
Yeah,
but
mental
I think
clarity increases significantly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to finish this too.
Yeah.
It's like that is just some tips and tricks: nutrition, healthy eating, hydration. But coming up next, we're gonna join all our guests, and they're gonna give you one last thing. See you soon.
Do you like guns? Do you like ammo? Do you like suppressors? Do you like freedom? Do you love America? Do you like baseball? Do you like rifles? Do you like 9mm? Do you like pistols? Join me, Paige Rue, every week on Reloaded.
We are in a culture war for the future of America, and so far the left has been winning. But I've got good news for you. Conservative students are fighting back. Join me, Isabel Brown, every week as we meet the compelling student activists changing the future of our country. Thanks to Turning Point USA, we are on the front lines.
What's up, guys? My name is Jon Root, and every week I'm breaking down the top stories in sports and bringing you conversations you won't hear anywhere else. It's gonna be a great time. You're Unbreakable.
You have to ask the question, how is the most heavily funded tribe have the poorest population?
Listen to me. My country is very because everything problem here. Don't have petroleum for bus and Cuban, for car, for drive, for nothing.
And it sucks. Socialism sucks. There's no other way you can describe it.
This is your brain. This is your brain on socialism. Any questions?
Lipstick is red, woke faces turn blue, cinnamon rolls are queens, I've got pop culture for you. All the juicy, wormy, newsworthy 411 is coming to you every single day on POPlitics at its new home, TPUSA Live. It's like Barbie's dream house, but bigger and pinker.
Welcome back to TPUSA Live. I can't believe it's almost over. We got one last thing.
Now this part we
it's gone by so fast, but Dr. Sean, we're gonna start with you. Like, as a doctor, when we have discussions like this, what's one thing viewers can take away from this discussion to be healthier today?
Yeah, I think to be happy, you need to reconnect with your friends and your family. If you graduate from high school, you graduate from college, and there's these people that come into your life and they drop away, every month, I want someone to call an old friend or a family member you've not talked to in a couple weeks. And I'm telling you, we forget how important those people are in our lives. And when we talk to them, it makes us happy. Then you're going to perform in the gym better. You're going to perform at work better because your social life is on lock. And I feel like definitely right now with COVID, we need to reach out to the people we love more.
Yeah, amen to that. And then Kuclo's too, like, it's just, you talk about exercise all the time. Like, what's something that people can be doing right here, right now, after this show wraps up, before you
I'm ready to go
watch
to the
the
gym.
next hour?
I'm ready to go work out.
I'm ready to go too.
What can people do right now?
I say the thing is, especially if someone's starting from the beginning, I say always do set small goals, and instead of don't be all or nothing. So I'd rather someone go 3 days a week as opposed to 5. I think they should start with 20 minutes of cardio and then increase there. If they do cardio intervals, because I love it for their heart. But I would also say I'm back to the spirit, mental, physical. So wake up, spiritual body, wake up, get yourself some spiritual food that's going to give you your mindset's already going to start in the right day. Then you're going to be nice to people. You're going to be smiling at people. Don't let your attitude, I feel feelings are very fickle. Don't let your feelings dictate. I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like this. You take a step of faith, take a step of action, and I say your actions, your feelings will always follow up with your actions. So I say go for it. And then I said set small goals. Don't say I'm going to lose 100 pounds, 20 pounds. Say I'm going to lose 5 pounds, or I'm going to cut out soda. And then do those gradual changes. That way it's a lifestyle, and it's not something that's going to set you up for failure of, I can never ever do this again. And make it a health. And vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, and colloidal silver, and that is a game changer.
And Steve, one thing from you.
Yeah, no, I think consistency is key with it. And don't get down to yourself if you have a bad day or you screw up in your diets or whatever. Just really try to be consistent, because over time, that really adds up, and you start seeing the results. And as you see the results, they're kind of addicting. You're like, man, I'm starting to look better. I'm feeling better. So don't, I think consistency, prepare yourself too. Like you talked about, if you're going on trips or you're busy with work, like, prepare your food every day. Like, don't go home and be like, I got nothing to eat, and then you may make bad choices. So those couple things right there, I think, will get you really start on the right path to health.
And then we're going to finish off with you, Kate. One thing people should take away from this discussion.
Yeah, so I think they all kind of hit on part of it, and I'll just sum it up with your health is yours. It belongs to you and you alone, and you have to own it. People can help you. Steve could help you, Sean can help you, Amanda can help you, but they can't do it for you. You are the only one who can do it, so own it. Lean in and own it. And no excuses. Like excuses won't fix your problems, action will. So.
Amen. Well, I really appreciate every single one of you sitting down and talking about this. I know it's been really beneficial to me. I've been taking some mental notes, and I hope you have too. But we have another great hour of TPUSA Live coming up next. If you want to read more about things that we talked about just now on the couch, you can go to tpusa.com/live feed. A lot of great articles there. Once again, thank you so much for being here. This has been a blast.
Heck
thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you guys tomorrow.
Get healthy.